welcome to Whispers of Ink. I'm Machado de Assis, and now I will read one of my stories.
Let's start with the book, Wedding Song, which is part of my novels collection. Single chapter. Single chapter picture. You're standing in the Church of the Carmel in the year 1813, surrounded by the sounds of one of those grand old celebrations that used to be the main public entertainment and the highest form of musical art. You already know what a sung mass is like, so just imagine how powerful and moving one of those old masses must have been back then. But in not asking you to focus on the priests or the altar boys, nor on the sermon, nor on the pretty eyes of the young ladies from Rio, who were already quite beautiful even in those days, nor on the mantillas worn by the more serious ladies, or the breeches, the wigs, the decorations, the lights, or the sweet smell of incense, not even on the orchestra, which, by the way, is truly excellent. Instead, I want you to look at one particular figure, an old man with white hair, standing at the front, conducting the orchestra with deep feeling and devotion. His name is Romain Pires, and has at least 60 years old, maybe more. He was born in Valongo or somewhere nearby. As a gentle and skilled musician, a good man through and through. Everyone in the music world loves him. Back then people called him Mestre Romain, and that name was both familiar and public. Everyone used it. To say, Mestre Romain is conducting the mass, was the same as saying, years later, the great actor João Caetano is taking the stage, or Martino will perform one of his finest arias. It was the perfect promise, the sweetest attraction, something both elegant and loved by all. Mestre Romain is in charge of the ceremony. Who in Rio didn't know him? Everyone recognized his thoughtful look, his eyes often cast down, his quiet, sad smile, and his slow, careful steps. But the moment he stood before the orchestra, all of that changed. Life filled his body and every movement. His eyes sparkled. His smile lit up. He was a completely different man. Of course, this mass wasn't his own composition. This one, for example, being performed now at the Carmel, was written by José Mauricio. But Romain conducted it with the same love and care he would have poured into his own work. The celebration ends. It's like watching a bright light suddenly fade, leaving behind only the soft glow of everyday life. There he goes now, stepping down from the choir loft with the help of his cane. He walks to the sacristy to kiss the priest's hands, then quietly accepts a seat at the dinner table. All of this he does without much expression, quietly, as if lost in thought. Romain had dinner, left his house, and walked toward Rua da Mãe dos Homens. That was where he lived with an old black man named José, who was more of a father to him than anyone else. At that very moment, José was chatting with a neighbor outside. "There he goes again, Master Romain's coming," the neighbor whispered. Hey! Goodbye, Miss Lady. See you soon," José said, quickly wrapping up the conversation. He jumped up, hurried inside the house and waited for his master, who came in a few minutes later looking just as serious as always. The house wasn't fancy, it wasn't even cheerful. There was no sign of a woman, young or old. No singing birds, no flowers, no bright colors. It was dark and empty. The happiest thing inside was probably the clavichord, which Master Roman sometimes played while practicing. A few sheets of music lay on a chair nearby, but none of them were his own. Oh, if only Roman could truly write music, he might have become a great composer. It seemed there were two kinds of talent, those who could speak through their art, and those who couldn't. The first kind became famous. The second kind fought a quiet, useless battle between deep feeling and the inability to share it. Roman was one of the second kind. His love for music was deep, carried entire operas and masses inside him, full of new and original harmonies. But he couldn't get them out, couldn't put them on paper. That was the only reason he felt so sad. Most people didn't understand. They blamed illness, money problems, or some old heartache. But the real truth was this: Roman's sadness came from not being able to create, from lacking the way to show others what he felt inside. It wasn't like he never tried. He filled pages with notes and spent hours at the clavichord. But everything he wrote was shapeless, no melody, no harmony. Lately, had even started to feel ashamed around the neighbors, and stopped trying altogether. Still, if he could, he would finish at least one piece, a wedding song he had started 3 days after getting married, back in 1779. Roman's wife was 21 when they married and died at 23. She wasn't exactly beautiful, nor was she plain, just incredibly kind and warm. And she loved him just as deeply as he loved her. 3 days after their wedding, Roman felt something stir inside him, like a sudden spark of inspiration. He wanted to write a wedding song, a special melody to celebrate their love. But the music wouldn't come. It fluttered in his mind like a trapped bird, desperate to escape but finding no way out. He tried again and again, writing down a few notes here and there, barely filling one page. The next day, and 10 days after that, and 20 times more during their short marriage, he tried again. But nothing came together the way he hoped. When his wife passed away, Roman looked back at those scattered notes and felt even sadder. He had never managed to capture the joy he felt when they were together. That happiness was gone now, and with it, any chance to put it into music. "I'm not feeling well today," he told Jose when he came in. "Maybe you ate something bad," Jose replied. "No, I didn't feel good even before breakfast." "Go to the pharmacy." Jose brought back some medicine from the pharmacist, which Roman took that night. But the next morning, he still felt weak. Truth was, Roman had a serious heart condition that had been getting worse for years. When Jose saw that the medicine hadn't helped, he got scared and insisted on calling the doctor. "What for?" Roman said quietly. "This will pass." The day didn't get worse, and he managed the night fairly well. But Jose barely slept more than 2 hours. Word spread quickly through the neighborhood. Everyone talked about nothing else. Friends and neighbors dropped by to check on him. Some said it was nothing, probably just a change in the weather. One joked kindly that Roman was faking illness to skip playing checkers with the pharmacist. Another teased that it was love sickness. Roman smiled politely, but deep down, he knew the truth. "It's over," he thought. "I'm done." One morning, 5 days after the wedding party, the doctor found him truly unwell. And that's exactly what he saw on the man's face, behind those deceptive words. "It's nothing. I just need to stop thinking about music." Music! That one word from the doctor gave Master Roman an idea. As soon as he was alone, like a man enslaved by his own thoughts, he opened the drawer where he had kept, since 1779, the unfinished wedding song he had begun so long ago. He reread those notes, painfully written and never completed. Then he had a strange thought. Finish the piece now, no matter how. Anything would do, as long as it left a bit of his soul behind on earth. Who knows? Maybe in 1880 someone would play it and tell the story of Master Roman. The beginning of the song ended on a certain note, of that very A, which once fit perfectly, was the last note he had ever written. Master Roman asked someone to bring the harpsichord into the back room, the one that faced the courtyard. He needed fresh air. Through the window he saw, at the back window of another house, a newlywed couple, married only 8 days, leaning out with their arms around each other's shoulders, hands tightly held. Master Roman smiled sadly. "They are arriving," he said. "I am leaving. But I will finish this song at least, for them to play." He sat at the harpsichord, played the notes again, and reached the A. A. Nothing. He couldn't go further. And yet, he truly understood music like few others. A C, a B, C, D. Impossible. No inspiration came. He didn't ask for something deeply original, but at least something new, not copied from another hand, something that could connect to the melody already begun. He went back to the start, repeated the notes, tried to recover even a fragment of the old feeling. He remembered his wife, the early days. To complete the illusion, he looked through the window toward the young couple. They were still there, hands joined, arms wrapped around each other's shoulders. The difference now was that instead of looking down, they were gazing into each other's eyes. Master Roman, breathless from illness and impatience, returned to the harpsichord. But the sight of the couple did not give him back his inspiration, and the following notes would not sound there. There. Desperate, he left the harpsichord, picked up the written sheet, and tore it apart. At that moment, the young woman, lost in her husband's gaze, began to hum absently, without realizing it. Something never before sung or known, in which a certain there was followed by a beautiful musical phrase, exactly the one Master Roman had searched for years without ever finding. The master heard her with sadness, shook his head, and that night he passed away.
Thank you for listening so far. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like our channel and click the bell to be notified whenever a new book is read. Have you heard of Machado de Assis? Machado de Assis, born in Rio de Janeiro in 1839, is considered one of the greatest writers in Brazilian literature and a master of psychological realism. He was a novelist, poet, playwright, and short story writer whose works explore the complexities of human behavior with irony, subtlety, and deep introspection. Among his most famous novels are Dom Casmurro, which questions truth and memory, and the posthumous memoirs of Brás Cubas, a satirical narrative told by a deceased man. Machado's literature often reflects the contradictions of Brazilian society, addressing issues like race, class, power, and identity in a sophisticated yet accessible style. Despite being born into poverty and facing racial prejudice, Machado de Assis rose to become the president of the Brazilian Academy of Letters and a symbol of literary excellence. His sharp wit and profound observations about society and the human soul make his works timeless and universally relevant. Today, he is recognized not only as a Brazilian icon, but also as a world-class author whose legacy continues to influence generations of writers and thinkers. Machado de Assis shows us that literature can be both elegant and critical, intimate and universal, humorous and profound. His stories remain as powerful and thought-provoking today as they were more than a century ago. Machado is a treasure of world literature, and through his voice, we discover the infinite layers of the human experience.